Downloadable content was once seen as a way to extend the life of an already great game with some new missions and optional adventures. Unfortunately, greedy publishers have spent the last decade giving DLC a black eye by purposely holding back content and turning it into a cynical cash grab. But that's certainly not the case when it comes to Not for Broadcast. The best game of 2022 just wrapped up its DLC trilogy with the Timeloop, a multiverse hopping brain buster that ends with a real bang, literally. I'm not sure it'll fully restore your faith in downloadable content, but you absolutely need to play this brand new add-on. Find out why when I review Not for Broadcast, the Timeloop.
If you come in the dry season, you've got a car park.
Not for Broadcast is one of those games that continues to surprise me. When I reviewed the original game back in 2022, I gave it a perfect A+ score and raved that it was one of the very few games to get satire right. Since then, we've survived a horror-filled episode full of scares called Live and Spooky, as well as Bits of Your Life, a retrospective episode that has you picking up the pieces when everything goes horribly awry. Now, nearly a full year later, Not Games is back with a big climactic finale that is also Not for Broadcast's most explosive episode yet. Now, if you somehow missed the core game and this is your introduction, then here's what you need to know about Not for Broadcast. You sit in the control room of a TV station and command the feed by switching between 4 different camera angles and censoring anything objectionable. You'll occasionally run into technical issues and other obstacles, but most of the game revolves around switching between cameras and bleeping profanity. It's simple and surprisingly fun. The Timeloop takes us back in time to March 13th, 1985, the day when Dr. Charles Magnus from the Happiness Collective plans to unveil his Euphoria device. Its purpose is to use waves and science to make everybody happier, whether they like it or not. However, the experiment does not go according to plan, and both you and your cranky boss Bob Bozeman get stuck in a Groundhog Day-style time loop. This sets up a fun scenario where you're forced to figure out how to solve this looping problem. At first you'll think it'll be as easy as swapping out hosts or hiring a guard to keep people from pushing that big red button on the Euphoria device. But that just creates a new batch of problems. This eventually turns into a puzzle that you'll need to solve in order to override the time loop machine. But of course, that proves to just be the start of what turns out to be an outrageous adventure that, much like the original game, goes places that I just have never seen in a video game before. Without spoiling too much of the fun, the time loop eventually gets so out of control that you're literally jumping between different time periods and multiverses. A lot of the fun and humor of the game comes from seeing the repeating television segment done in dozens of different ways. Since you already know how everything's gonna go beat for beat, a lot of the fun is adding a new character to the mix, or seeing the same scene done in a pirate-themed multiverse. Every time you think that they can't possibly add more chaos to the episode, the game finds a way to go even more over the top. This gives the developers a chance to bring back a lot of the fan-favorite guests and characters from the core game and the previous episodes. My favorite is the conspiracy-minded Alan, who has a really small book to sell you. However, it's also fun seeing celebrity chef Jordan yell and belittle everybody on the set, and it won't take you more than a few seconds to figure out why everybody hates Jeff Algebra. Even if they don't fix the time loop, these pompous, arrogant, self-centered celebrities send the show spinning out of control in so many delightful ways. Now, one thing that I really appreciated about the first 2 DLC episodes is that they forced you to play differently than the original game. The same is true with the time loop. Instead of trying to censor profanity and get the best shots, a lot of this game has you interacting with the footage to find clues to solve puzzles. This small change really helps to make the game feel different from the rest of the series, and it really is just a reminder of how creative this developer is. That's sad, because you're mostly just looking for clues to solve a series of puzzles. I found that the time loop felt a lot less interactive than the previous episodes. A lot of this game is just, watching the different versions of the news segment. It's the kind of thing where you know that the solution you're choosing isn't gonna work, but you can't wait to see how everything plays out nonetheless. No matter if you're swapping hosts, adding celebrity guests, or going on a crazy journey through space and time, every bit of this game is fun to watch and play along to. Did I care that I was no longer in control of the TV broadcast when I was in the dominatrix dimension? Not even for a second. I honestly couldn't stop laughing and hunting for clues. This truly is one of those games where it feels like they wrote down every idea they could possibly think of, and they just did all of it. Between the different costumes and sets, there was a lot of time and effort put into making all of these segments look authentic. There's also a staggering amount of dialogue, which kind of makes me wonder what the script looked like. From a production perspective, it's hard to argue with the Timeloop. And that's true of Not For Broadcast as a whole. Yes, there are times when you can tell that it's not real news and instead it's done by a bunch of comedians and improv actors. But it won't take long for you to completely buy into the game's reality. As a finale, the Timeloop is fitting. It's big, it's crazy, and it leaves you feeling exhausted. Best of all, it has a good message in the end that'll leave you feeling happy and uplifted. I do wish that they found more ways to make this episode a little bit more interactive, but I like the puzzles that I couldn't stop laughing at the different versions of the news segment. Of the 3 downloadable episodes, the Timeloop is my favorite. It's full of surprises, and even has a few scenes that I guarantee I'm never going to forget. I really do hope that this isn't the end of the line for Not For Broadcast. But if it is, then the Timeloop is a great way to conclude this amazing game. The gang at the National Nightly News is back in the Timeloop, the 3rd and final downloadable episode for Not For Broadcast. It's deja vu all over again when you get stuck in a Groundhog Day style scenario and have to work your way out, even if that means breaking the rules of time and space. While the game is a lot less interactive than the previous episodes, it's still gripping and hilarious from start to finish. It's also weirdly exhausting and will leave fans of the series more than satisfied. Let me tell you, if all DLC was this good, then nobody would ever complain again. Hey, thanks for watching my review. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we post new reviews and features almost every day. Now, here's the question I have for you. What game has the best DLC? Look, I know that a lot of people love their story-based DLC, but I feel like we need to take a moment and really appreciate what Rock Band did for downloadable content. Harmonix not only made a ton of it, but you can even use the DLC in the sequels. Plus, they supported Rock Band 4 for nearly a full decade, long after the game had stopped selling. That's commitment. Let me see your picks in the comments below. Oh man, I spent so much time talking about Rock Band that I barely have time to promote tomorrow's copycat review. While you wait for that, I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.